Diane in Denmark here, and rah, it is Monday morning, and usually on a Monday morning I'll be saying, well, it's the start of a new week. Let me just put down my pom-poms as usual. I'll be saying it's the start of a new week, a new Flylady Zone, and I've got something a wee bit different for you today. I'm not sitting in the house, as you can see. I'm not even dressed up to lace-up shoes. I've got my wellies on. I'm out in the garden. And I want to share with you something today. Usually, if you've found me through, Flylady, you'll know that I love to use the Flylady system to help me run the house, to stop me getting overwhelmed. It's that framework that means that we're not kind of over cleaning things and we're not missing things. We've got a system going for it. And you know that I've got my control journal, and in here, when I've done these clean with me videos, listen, if you're looking for those, I'll put the playlist up there. I'm not going to be doing that today. I've got, the different zones, what we're doing in zone 5, and you've seen that I adapt the system to suit me. And remember here, if you are new to the Flylady system, don't put marshmallows in your ears and don't listen to any of this, because the only thing that you need to be doing right now is being consistent with your morning and evening routine, because that's going to build you up and stop that overwhelmed feeling. And then add in a weekly home blessing hour for the house. And then after that, you can start thinking about detail stuff, but not before then, okay? It'll all come in good time. Your time will come, don't worry. But with the Flylady system, I've also applied it to the garden, the yard, if you want to call it that. And it's worked well in that, at the beginning of the month when we're in zone 1, I've been thinking, about how we come into the house, making sure that area is clear. But the rest of the zones hadn't really quite stuck. So I've been brainstorming the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to show you what I came up with. And for me, it has to kind of mesh with the other Flylady zones. Like zone 3 is the bathroom, and there I'm thinking kind of swish and swipe, water. So I've kind of applied that to our garden, and I'm just going to share with you what I've come up with. Now remember, you don't need to be doing the same as me. Your garden situation may be very different. Maybe you've got cows and chickens, or maybe you've got a tiny balcony with a couple of chairs and a couple of pot plants. Just take the ideas, make them work for you. You don't need to be printing out lists and screenshotting this and printing out. Just take a pencil, a paper, and I was printing out using this old menu planner that I had from Saving Dinner, which I think is about 10 years old. And this is, for me, is going to be a work in progress. I'm going to add this to my control journal. Every week I'm going to use this, and I'm going to see how it goes, and I'll share in another video, maybe when we get to the end of the summer, how it's worked for me this year. And I have to say, one of the first times there was, we must have been in Flylady Zone 1 when there was a mission from Marla about, the entryway to the house and, getting things ready. And it was to sweep out the garage. And I remember that feeling that time. That was one of the first times as an adult that I've actually felt like an adult, like I was a grown-up. Because in my head, sweeping out the garage was something that my mum and dad would do. Like if you swept out your garage, you were really, really on top of things and you had it all going. So anyway, I'll share with you what I've got. Oh, and I'll also show you, I love this wee thing for when I'm out gardening. Anyway, zone 1 in Flylady is entryway, hall, dining room. So for me, that makes sense. When I think of zone 1 for the garden, that'll be coming into the house. For example, we've got a very long pavement outside, and we need to keep that weeded, so that dog owners don't come along and let the dogs poo and kind of hide it underneath the weeds. So I normally I'm out there at the beginning of the month. I've also got a weed burner that I sometimes use for that. That's my kind of reward for doing the weeding. I love the big weed burner. I love fire. Also to cut any overhanging branches that go over our fence, so that we're responsible for keeping that, the pavement neat and tidy. That in our commune, that's how it works. Sweep the garage. And our garage is from 1933, and it only really fits our car, so there's not much else in our garage apart from some small tools, and that's basically it. So, but you know, it gets things like leaves and stuff in there. So, a good sweep occasionally works wonders. To clean, you know, the steps into the house, the area where you come in, you know, where we've got a couple of chairs and a bench, and also to keep the front door looking spruce and tidy. Actually, if you saw my video from the last couple of weeks, I was going around doing a bit of spot work on painting with my wee paintbrush, and I actually did the bottom of our front door because that was looking a bit kind of chipped, so that's already. Anyway, that was it for zone 1. That makes sense for me. Maybe something else for you. Moving on to zone 2. Now zone 2 in Flylady land is the kitchen. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, anywhere where we eat and drink in the garden. So I've come up with the decks. We've got 2 decks. I've also got my little reading corner, a spot where sometimes I sit and have my breakfast in the morning. And so anything to do with, you know, the areas where we eat and drink, anywhere where we're sitting out, you know, does the deck need cleaned off? Does it need a scrub to get all the algae off? Things like that. And also eat and drink, we've got 2 huge apple trees, and we've got a cherry tree and a plum tree. I don't have things like, you know, you may have a greenhouse, you may be, I don't know, growing tomatoes, potatoes, all that. I'm not into that, but you know, the apple trees, they need taking care of occasionally. We've just actually booked somebody to come and prune it because we can't get up so high, so that is already booked. But just things like that, anywhere we're kind of sitting in the garden, that's going to be my zone 2. And sweeping the paths. Now you're going to see the sweeping the paths really comes up in every zone if I've got time for it, because I've noticed that if I keep the paths swept, there's not so much weeds that come up between the stones and the paths, you know, the paving stones. So right, on to zone 3. Zone 3 in the Flylady land is the bathroom plus 1 other room. Now, for me, the bathroom is, you know, water, swish and swipe. So I've tried to think about anything that needs cleaned or maintained or anything to do with water. So I've come up with, put my gardening gloves in the wash. These are the ones that I got at IKEA recently, which I really like. T1 and Dressing Your Truth system, look at that, polka dots and everything. The garden furniture, does it maybe need a wipe down? Does it need maintained? Maybe you need to sand off something, oil it, paint it. Our recycling bins, they get a bit grubby. May want to give those a quick wash out. And also things like any of the pots, lanterns, you know, maybe they need just cleaned out or replace the candles, the lawnmower. You know, maybe you need to wipe that down, just give it a bit of extra tender love and care. Bird feeders, things like that, and sweep the paths again. Okay, zone 4. Now zone 4 in Flylady land is the master bedroom and the closet or the wardrobe. Now for me, I was thinking about, okay, zone 4 for me, that is the bedroom, beds. So for my garden zone, I've thought about any of the flower beds, you know, upkeeping the flower beds, cutting off the dead heads, pruning back, removing weeds. Maybe you have a greenhouse, maybe you've got, you know, bedding plants in there, anything like that. And also, you know, just making things neat and tidy and the bed and doing the edges of the lawn. So that's what works for me. And again, sweep paths. And last one is the living room. Now the living room for me here, because we're in the living room so much and we're always kind of doing stuff there, the living room for me is like any other business, just any other bits and bobs. So, and I've done the same for the garden here. Maybe there's a little project that I want to work on, just general removal of weeds or dandelions from the lawn. Maybe you've got the same problem as us here, so many dandelions, but yeah, you know, lots of birds like eating them. Edging the lawn, and again sweeping past it. I've not put anything in for zone 5 yet. I think I'm just going to see how it goes. Maybe there's something that I've forgotten. You know, maybe there's something that you can recommend to add to it. So that's basically what I've got now for the garden work. I'm going to see how that fits in with my other Flylady Zones for in the house. And a couple of other things that I had added. You know, maybe you've got things like having to water your pots during the summer. I have very few pot plants now out here in the garden. We're really having hotter and hotter summers, and I don't like using extra water. Maybe you've got something that can collect your rainwater. But often, you know, if we're away in the summer or if we're over at our summer house, the plants have been dying. So I've stripped it right back, and instead of having like 100 different pots that needed watering, I only have 3 or 4, and that is it. So maybe you want to think about that. Maybe there's something that has been changing in your garden. Maybe you are back to working different shifts and just don't have time to do all the weeding. Maybe you need to simplify things in your garden. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you are now retired and you've got more time for the garden and you want to add in some extra things. Just kind of think about your situation, your family. What do you really have time for? Like mowing the lawn, we have robot lawnmower. Now, we got that about 10 years ago. I actually asked for one for my birthday present. You know me, there's nothing, I have everything that I want. But I noticed I do all the mowing of the lawn here and most of the gardening at home. And with my asthma, I was finding it more and more difficult to mow the lawn. We've got a huge lawn, and it was taking me about 45 minutes to an hour to mow the lawn. And we've got a lot of moss in the lawn, which I don't mind. I quite actually like the moss, but it was really tough going. So we got the robot lawnmower, and that's been fantastic because it, you know, you can set it to run. I set ours to run twice a week. I run it on a Monday morning and on a Thursday, and that way we can use it the other times without, you know, getting grass on the bottom of our feet, stuff like that. And it also goes out even when there's light rain. It doesn't go out when there's heavy rain, but it goes out when it's light rain. So instead of me thinking, oh, now I need to go and mow the lawn, we've got the little robot lawnmower. And, you know, it's up to you. Maybe you prefer the old-fashioned lawnmower, but the robot lawnmowers are now very reasonably priced, the same as a kind of decent, you know, push lawnmower. So just think about things going forward. What is going to make life easier for you? Where do you want to spend your energy in the garden? I don't want to spend my energy mowing the lawn. That doesn't work for me. I would rather be doing other stuff in the garden and sitting outside here reading a book. So make things work for you. So anyway, what's the time? Oh, right, okay. And you know me, I like to keep it to less than 15 minutes. If you are going to come out and do some weeding, whatever it is, make sure that you set your timer before you start, because you know how we are. Sometimes we think, oh right, and then when we finally get out there to do something, you know, it's good to get your fingers into the earth and get back to nature, but you maybe haven't thought about, you know, what's for dinner tonight. Did you actually complete your load of laundry? Let's be reasonable about these things. Okay, so set your timer for 15 minutes and then maybe move on to another area in the garden or do something else, also so you're not getting a sore back. And the last thing I was going to show you is, now this is a wee garden bag stool thing that I bought, oh gosh, was it 3 or 4 years ago? I've shown you in another video. And basically it's like a little bag, gardening bag, but it comes with its own little chair, its own little stool. So you can kind of sit on it, and you know, if you're working in a bed in the garden. And also it's got wee pockets round the side where you can keep your tools, your gardening gloves, you know, you can put your telephone in there. I've always got my cordless headphones on when I'm working in the garden, listening to you know, a book, or generally listening to music. So you can kind of put your stuff in there, and instead of having to think, oh, you know, where are my tools, you know, where's my weed extractor, you can have them all in here. So that's like, if you're looking for a wee gift for somebody, this is a great idea. Also, I think Vibeke bought one, you know, my bestie Vibeke, and she takes it if she paints, you know, does watercolours and stuff like that. She takes hers out when she's going painting, because she can sit on it and she can have her extra stuff in here. So anyway, just a wee practical thing. But I'm thinking this could also do with a bit of TLC, so maybe that's my my little mission today, to give it a wash and a scrub and let it dry in the sunshine. So on that note, hope you have a fantastic Monday. If Flylady zone for this week, if I remember rightly, is zone 5 in the living room. If you want me to clean along with you in the living room, I put the link up there, and you'll see me, you know, doing my usual 15 minutes in the zone. Have a fantastic day. I won't be uploading a video tomorrow. I'm on to my kind of spring summer schedule now, so probably Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but you will see me around on Instagram. So on that note, live long and prosper. May the spring hygge be with you, and I shall see you very soon. Okay, bye for now.